Welcome to the 8th episode of Season 2 of Overrated. My name is Sujay, and I'm joined this week by Girish and Brian. And in this episode, we're going to be discussing Cats, the 2019 movie starring Francesca Hayward, Judi Dench, and Idris Elba, directed by Tom Hooper. First off, welcome back, Brian, from last season. Thanks for being
Hello. It's good to be back.
Brian actually volunteered for this episode. I sent a list of all this movies we're going to do this season, and he said, yeah, Cats, that's the one I want to do. So...
To be honest, out of all the ones, I've seen every single movie before, except for the Star Wars one, but I didn't want to get into Star Wars, so whatever. But Cats I hadn't seen, and I was like, well, I might as well give it a shot.
Yeah. Girish is here more or less against his will.
I was forced, yeah. That's how unpopular this movie was. And Brad volunteered.
I was on the... Yeah, go ahead.
Did you guys see the promos and stuff before the trailers came out? Before
I watched the trailers, and I just
not just the trailers. There was promos with Taylor Swift and Idris Elba, not CGI'd up, and they were like, "Man, this is the best production that's gonna happen." You gotta admit, and you might go into this later. The casting was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And it was all these famous people, and I was like, "Yo, this is gonna be awesome."
That's why.
So there was a lot of hype built up, and then it died, but. Because of the original hype, I was always curious.
It was just from the trailers because the cast just looked so cursed, and everyone saw it. They're like, "What the fuck is this?" But yeah, the actors were really good. So.
We'll save some time in the "Where Were You" category. I think all of us watched this for the first time for this podcast.
Yeah, last night, this morning.
I actually was hesitant to put this in the podcast, and I was like, all right. I don't know if this is going to be because other than the bad CGI, I didn't really know what else Cats was about. So I was like, I don't know what we'll talk about. And then even after watching the movie, I was so confused. So I was like, I don't even know what we're going to talk about. But I read through the plot.
Podcast.
Yeah. So I now know what happened in the movie because I read the plot synopsis.
Right? Yeah, I had to read the plot too. And I read it and I was like, what the fuck? This was going on?
Yeah.
I had an idea. But I was never 100% sure, so I read it just to be sure. No, and there was a lot of points I missed, but I got the main part where it's they want to get sent away.
When you read the plot, there's so much stuff that happens that you thought was just part of the musical aspect of it, but it's an actual plot point, and I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's definitely a different kind of movie.
We'll score it first, so we'll start with our personal score for the movie. So Brian, what I said on the other podcast is the metric I use is if it's above 50%, then I'd watch it on TV or something if it was coming. If it's below, this is not one of those cases. I this is probably the lowest movie we're doing. I said 30%. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be, but it wasn't good.
So for me, this movie had one redeeming aspect, and I don't want to talk about it now because I'll get into it in my own category. But other than that, it was just so bad. So I would give it a 0 straight up if it wasn't for this one. No, I did not enjoy this movie. But there was.
So this is below YouTube video quality. This is below home recording.
Yeah. Okay. But there was a couple decent parts and then one big part which I'll talk about later. So for that reason, I'll give it a 25.
As you know, I volunteered to watch this, so I guess I would go above 50 because if it did come on TV, I would just be naturally curious just to see what it was about and just finish it. So
but would you watch that again? That's the thing. If it were to come on TV tomorrow.
Oh, was it come on TV again, or is it just if it comes on TV, would you watch it?
No, again.
Again.
You watch it already.
I mean. Okay, if that's the new criteria, I'd probably make it around it's close. I'd give it a 45 then or something like that. There are certain parts that certain scenes where it's I'd watch it again, but the whole movie probably wouldn't sit through it. But if it was at a certain scene, I'd be yeah, I'll stick around for another 3 minutes and then. but yeah,
right.
45.
The Rotten Tomatoes had kind of similar. For critics, it was an understandable 20%. And for the audience, it was surprisingly higher. It was 53%. So I thought that was pretty high for the audience. But I think this is definitely the lowest movie that we're doing all season, probably. So
Has to be.
yeah, we can
Unless
get right
you
into
need, like the disaster artist, or they like the one that's based on the room or whatever.
Yeah. All right. We moved into, let's talk about the plot. So like I said, I had no idea what was going on for half the movie, and so when I finished watching the movie, I wrote one plot summary, and then I read the plot synopsis and wrote the other one. And like looking back, the first plot summary I wrote was so funny. All right, so
So
like
this is like what you got from.
No,
watching the
don't say which one's which. Say both.
No,
Well,
it's
I mean,
real
don't
obvious
know.
which one
Don't
is
know
which.
which one is which.
Okay, this is the one I wrote before I read the plot synopsis. Like this is verbatim what I wrote.
Okay.
All right. So there's a bunch of cats, and then there's some singing competition that they all want to compete in. And Idris Elba cat wants to win by any means necessary, so he imprisons all of his competition till he is the last one left. And then for some reason he also imprisons the judge, but he's spoiled by some other cat who's pretending to be a magician, but I guess he's actually a magician. And there's this other cat, and like she's really good at singing, or she's shy or some shit, and she ends up winning the competition and the prize, which is a balloon ride. And that was my summary.
Dude, honestly, that's a good summary for.
That's pretty close.
That's what I thought. That's what I
those
thought.
Those are all the events, though, and I had no idea.
Yeah.
Like, I actually read the plot summary. It's like, wait, what the fuck? That's what that means?
Yeah, the competition.
Wait, what plot summary did you read? That's pretty much the plot summary I got. Like when I read it.
So
like the
this
final
is what
prize isn't a balloon ride. It's like
that's the only thing
that was the
I
major thing that I
like,
completely missed from the movie.
Oh, you thought it was like they were like figuratively reborn into a better life? It's just
I didn't get any of that. So this is the plot summary I wrote after I read the plot synopsis.
Okay.
Victoria is introduced to the world of the Jellicles, a tribe of cats who must decide yearly which one will ascend to the Heaviside layer and come back to a new life. McCavity, a villainous stray, wants to win more than anything, so he kidnaps all the other competing cats and demands that the judge, Old Deuteronomy, make him the Jellicle cat. She refuses and then he imprisons her as well, but she is saved by Mr. Mistopheles, and the imprisoned cats also free themselves. Meanwhile, Grisabella, a former ally of McCavity, overcomes her shame and performs a ballad, winning the Jellicle choice. So that's a more well-rounded, like, what happened in the movie and why it happened.
Honestly, if you think about it, there's only like one major there's like not much that happens in
it's a very
to, like,
simple
the story.
plot. It's a simple
plot.
Yeah. But
a lot of the
it's a
movies
musical, so it was more focused on the artistry, right? Like the singing and the dancing,
the theatrics,
those two. And the acting. Yeah, but like those two are at least those metrics, it was a good movie, right? Like the singing was good, the acting or the dancing was good.
For the longest time, I didn't realize like Jellicle is what they were saying. I thought they were saying Angelical. Like
that's the thing too.
That has to be a reference, right?
I know what it means.
I looked up
like Angelicals. Like, is it a metaphor for like?
I thought it was like angels. Yeah, like.
Oh no! So when I first saw it, did you guys watch with like closed captions or anything?
Yeah, I watched with closed captions.
Oh, okay. See, that's the thing. Like, I watched it on an illegal website that didn't have closed captioning. And so with all these, like, weird-ass names and, like, weird words like Jellicle cats, I couldn't understand. And they're also singing. They're not, like, if they're talking, I might be able to understand. But when they're singing, you know, like, sometimes people, like, say with different inflections. So I literally thought I was losing my ability to understand the English language. Like, I felt like I was watching a foreign film because I was like, is that a word I'm supposed to know?
Brain cells.
I was like, is that words I'm supposed to know? Because I was like, I thought like, are they saying calico or something like that? Like, I don't understand. But yeah, it ends up being Jellicle. So, and that's just like the name of the cats there.
Yeah, the tribe. All right. For memeable scenes, this is not really like scenes even that I had. It's just like stuff that I noticed that I thought was really weird. And so I felt like we had to just talk about. Same categories, memeable scenes.
Oh, okay.
So the first one I had was the old Gumby Cat song. And all of these are songs pretty much because like it's a musical, but like
I actually did not know that, so I was like, "Oh, cool! They're gonna introduce with like a music, like a song, like a Disney movie." And I was like, "Okay, when are they gonna get into the? When's the talking gonna start?" 25 minutes in, I'm like, "It's never gonna start, is it?"
Yeah. So this was the introduction to Rebel Wilson and Jason Derulo's characters. And like I think at this point I realized that all the animals were like human hybrids. So like this is when they brought out like the mice and like the cockroaches and stuff.
yeah.
And that kind of tripped me up. I was like, wait, what? That looked even worse than the cats in my opinion. But I thought that was pretty funny. Right after that came the Rum Tum Tugger song, which is
That was
Jason Derulo's
mine.
again.
That was mine.
Wait, are you gonna talk about? Okay, like there's this one like part of it, and it's like when the cats are drinking milk out of the bowl, and then there's like milk like dripping into the bowl from like a faucet or something, and like they do this one shot where they like pan to the cat like drinking the milk, and then they just like pan upward. It's just Jason Derulo standing over that cat. It's really questionable. Like seeing the cat drinking like the milk.
I didn't go that specific. Yeah, I just thought the song was
looking.
I saw that. I was like, wait, what?
Oh. I was just trying to comprehend like what was going on. It's like I was like, are they still gonna sing? Like I was still at that phase of the movie.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
really
I was gonna say the Rum Tum Tugger song. I thought that was that was just wild.
Yeah. And honestly, this is the scene right after that as well, which is James Corden's song, "The Cat About Town." I thought that seesaw scene was kind of funny. It was kind of funny though because like he's you see how fat I am? Like you need like more people.
But that
on
was
seesaw.
that was like his entire joke. Like him and Rebel Wilson had one joke for the entire movie, and it was just like, oh, I'm fat, and that was it.
Yeah.
It was like it's overused and it's not even funny.
Same scene, like him was like when he was in the trash can. There's like that shot of him like drinking the champagne, and like the way they like shot him like with his tongue like drinking the champagne, it was real weird.
They also, I think, if I remember correctly, that was like the one scene he like barges into a trash can or something. There's Rum Tum Tugger with like just two hoes next to him or something like that. It's like barges. And he was
say
like,
what you want. They captured Jason Derulo well.
And it was like, are they? It was just, I don't know. It was very awkward, unexpected.
Yeah. Next up, I have when McCavity like takes over basically, and they do the catnip scene. They really just wanted all the cats to look like they were like orgasming. Like there's no other way to describe that because like they were like, oh my god, like when the catnip fell on them, it got real weird then. And like if it was already pushing like a furry agenda, this was just going over the top. All right, last one I had was that final song that they did with Judi Dench. It's called The Addressing of Cats. And like I don't know if like you guys actually like pay attention to the lyrics because like I noticed some lines and so like I looked it up afterwards. And it's a really like pro cat propaganda song. Like I don't understand like I don't think I can describe it any other way. But like they go into like why cats are better than dogs in that song. And they also go into
one line or something. It's like, we are not dogs. And I was like,
yeah,
when did that happen?
I don't know when this was part of the movie, but like they also put up all these other random lines in the song, like how you should like bow to cats and give them caviar and salmon. And I was like, wait, when was this pro cat propaganda part of the movie? But yeah, all right, those are my scenes. Do you guys have?
I just picked the Rum Tum Tugger scene. I mean, I couldn't be bothered because I feel like if I like all the other scenes were just basically that scene but less memeable, because I think that the Rum Tum Tugger scene in my opinion was like the peak of when you were like, this is just such a weird movie, like what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, so, I feel like it's at that moment, which is probably like 25 minutes in, that I just became like numb to everything else. Like just accepted it, right? And I was like watching the movie for other reasons. So that's probably like the peak of it, because I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Do you have any others, Brian, or?
No, I think you got most of them.
All right, cool. Yeah. All right, next category then, Jar Jar Binks Awards. So Girish already kind of covered mine. Mine was Jenny, Annie Dotson, Christopher Jones, just Rebel Wilson and James Corden. I said for the reason basically Girish said, that they really just pull you out of the movie because essentially they're just being themselves. And like Brian said, like this movie has like a whole cast of like different like celebrities that are like pretty high caliber.
The best cast movie I've ever seen. It's like out of any movie I've seen, it probably has the best cast, which is pretty crazy.
Jason Derulo, Idris Elba, Taylor Swift. But like none of these characters Dench, pull you out of the movie like these two do. Because like it's just a recurring joke that they're fat cats. And it's like funny at first, but like it's all they do in the movie pretty much.
Yeah. For me, I was gonna go with Idris Elba cat. What's his name?
McCavity.
Cavity.
He was my favorite cat.
But that's why I liked him, but like his whole plan, like okay, like it's such a funny plan because like Sujay kind of said it a little at the beginning, but like he's like, I'm gonna kidnap everyone so I win by default, and then he kidnaps the judge.
Well, that's because the judge. It was like, can I win now?
The judge said no.
Like, no. So I was like, all right, I'm kidnapping you.
What else am I gonna do?
Like it's like every time he's in a tough situation, he's like kidnapped.
Oh shit. That was weird. My power just went out for a sec.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not surprising. It's raining
Yeah.
cats and dogs.
Oh my god.
They had a lot of cat puns in there, which I thought was funny.
But yeah, I said McCavity, and then Grant said he just liked McCavity.
I liked McCavity until he was like naked and then had like chiseled abs and that on a cat that just looks weird. But if I had to choose, my character would probably be Rum Tum Tugger. Because that guy is just like, I don't know, he seems to be living his best life at the moment. Like, just straight up, just like, he's like the classic, I don't know, rock star or something. He's like doing drugs, probably like the cat equivalent of that. Like, he's sleeping with any cat he wants, and he's like a rock star, basically. I don't know. He's
living the life.
Yeah, he's just Jason Derulo.
The name Rum Tum Tugger for me, it's like, it sounds real like questionable. Like, I don't want to say, like, it was the same thing we were talking about in Avatar when we were talking about sandbagger. It feels like it's a racial slur. I feel like you should just avoid the like syllable "ger" whenever you describe black people.
Yeah, I don't know.
Rum Tum Tugger that was kind of weird.
But I don't think these names were based off of the musical, and this is like before.
I guess he wasn't black actually. That's a good point.
Yeah.
All right. Next category then, 5 minutes of internet trivia. So, this is what I found. So on December 21st, 2019, this is a mere 2 days after the release, Universal Pictures announced that they would release a new version with updated CGI at an undisclosed time. Yeah.
Oh, you cut again.
Yeah, you cut again, so I missed what you just said.
All right, let's repeat it. On December 21st, 2019, a mere 2 days after its release, Universal Pictures announced that they would be releasing a new version with updated CGI at an undisclosed time. So I don't know if what we watched was the new version or...
I don't think so.
I doubt it. If that was a new version, that I have more questions. But
it looked like the trailers, so unless like...
I guess they haven't yet released it.
Maybe they just
Cats
given up.
2 supposed to be a thing coming out?
I don't see how they could though, because well, isn't that
that's not a
sequel
play.
like it's based on a musical that doesn't have like a sequel or prequel, right? Unless I'm mistaken. I'm not big into the musical Broadway world, so
yeah. So this was originally intended to be a traditionally animated movie before your boy Tom Hooper came on board to direct. This could have been a good animated movie. That's the thing. Like,
it could be a classic Disney movie.
Yeah.
Like if they animated it.
Oh, this cast too, it would have been good.
Yeah. But then I guess the actors wanted to like actually see themselves, like their faces and bodies.
It was the director's choice though to make them like.
Okay. I mean, because like you have this amazing cast, and then I guess the actors are like, or actors and actresses were like, they don't get to see my face. I'm just voice acting.
After they saw themselves, though, I feel like they'd be like, all right, no.
But it's also weird because, like, it's two big things. It's big on music and big on dance. So, like, I just, like, don't find animated characters dancing as, like, true dance. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, next thing, in an article
he was trying to go for, but just missed the mark a little bit.
Yeah. All right. In the next thing I have, in an article published in April 2020 on the Daily Beast website, visual effects artists speaking on condition of anonymity, like they didn't want people to know who they were, said that they had 6 months to produce the early 2.5-minute trailer and then only 4 months to produce the rest of the movie. So like the visual effects artists were spending like 90-hour weeks, like sleeping under their desks to get the film done in time. And like this time crunch plus like their like relationship with Tom Hooper apparently like was the root of all the problems in the movie. In their words. But yeah, it's kind of insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Imagine working 90-hour work weeks.
Yeah.
That's like literally like
this will really teach him a lesson. Let me just like.
Yeah.
I do. Oh, keep on going.
No, you go ahead. I was going to the next thing.
Oh, okay. I do say like there one little bit of trivia which we kind of touched on earlier that I did read up on, is the word jellicle, which apparently is just like a name they gave for the cats, and then people were wondering where that name came from. So, Cats is based on the movie Cats is based on the musical Cats, which is based on some cat poems by T.S. Eliot apparently, right? And it was in those poems that first used the word jellicle, and apparently the rumored origin of the word jellicle was coming from T.S. Eliot's niece, who tried to pronounce dear little cat but couldn't pronounce, like she must have been 4, so she couldn't pronounce dear little properly, so it came out as jellicle instead of dear little cat, the jellicle cat, and that's where he got the inspiration for his poems, which then led to the musical, which then led to
Thanks.
So this one girl caused cats. All right. Next up, I have that according to Taylor Swift, the cast had to attend cat school for preparation, where they learn how to like walk and dance like cats.
I saw that, and I was like, what?
That's awful.
There were like interviews with her in it. She was like so excited. She was like, I mean, because she's a self-proclaimed like well-known cat lover, right? And she was like, how awesome is this? I get to learn to be a cat.
That's awful, dude.
I mean, like the way they do act is like pretty like cat-like.
No,
they definitely did like training or whatever. So,
but you know what they could have just done properly, like you know those movies like the Rise of the Planet of the Apes movies.
Oh yeah.
You know those apes are based on human actors, right?
Yeah, they're mocaps. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I don't understand why they couldn't have just done that, but with cat, like I would have just.
They didn't have to make the half hybrids. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't know.
Right. Last trivia point that I have is that Cats was the last film of 2010s to win the Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Picture. And ironically, Tom Hooper's previous film, The King's Speech, was the first film of the 2010s to win the Academy Award for Best Picture. So he was won both like the Best Picture Oscar and the Worst Picture Raspberry Award.
Like when Russell Westbrook won like NBA MVP and Shaq did the full MVP that one season.
Hitting both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have most underrated. So, most underrated scene first. For me, I chose like when they're all doing their like jellicle performances, I chose the tap dance scene. I don't know if you guys recall, but the tap dance scene was lit. Like, say what you want about the rest of the movie,
really cool,
but like that was nice. I like that. And it came out of nowhere too. Like everyone is just like singing, and this dude's like, "All right, I'm gonna tap dance." And like the scenery on the train track and stuff was nice too. So that was mine.
I don't know if this is an underrated scene, but I really liked the Taylor Swift song, the one where she's like, "Here comes Mr." What's his name?
McCavity.
Yeah, she's like, "Here comes McCavity." Like that was catchy. Like I like.
It was. It was like defies laws of gravity.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Like it was some bars. I like the McCavity song though. I don't know if that's underrated.
That was probably my favorite scene.
With Taylor Swift is in it, but it was like.
It was like her only scene in the movie too.
Yeah,
Taylor
that's the
Swift
thing.
and Idris Elba, like a duet. Like, It's like it's kind of nice.
So that's why I was like, I don't know if you can say that's underrated, but I'm saying I like that.
Yeah,
it's underrated because this whole movie is shit on. So if you have like one clip of it,
I think the thing is like people just couldn't get over the fact that the actual like CGI, because like if you were blind, right, and you watch this movie. It would be a great movie because like the music's not bad. Like if you think about it, like the music's not bad. It's actually like the songs are pretty catchy and like it's good stuff, I think at least. And if you were like partially blind and you could see like blobs and you appreciate the dance part, I think you would also enjoy that, right? Like I think the dancing, like Victoria was doing some like high level ballet shit, and there was also like
because
there was like hip hop dancing and break dancing and there was like all sorts of other kinds of stuff going on, and like the tap dancing, like you said, which was like pretty lit. So
it's just a bad movie for us cursed with vision.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Bird Box, you know.
Yeah. Brian, what was your underrated?
My underrated, I really like. So I like the McCavity scene, or the song, but I really liked the I don't know if you guys remember, but the song was like called "Beautiful Ghosts," and
Who sings
it
it?
was
Yeah,
sung
if you
by
hum the
Victoria. It was like Alicia, beautiful ghost or something. It was like the
I think
it was
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah, it's not a significant part of the movie, like not related to the plot at all. I think she was like trying to
Yeah.
chase after the cat that ends up winning. It's like the scene
Yeah.
where like the cat's like
Griselda.
walking along on the streets all sad.
Yeah.
And
No,
then
I
she
Is
know
it
like
what
her
you're talking
song or is it like the song that she was singing earlier, like the
No.
Grisabella?
no, it's not Memories.
It's,
Okay,
It's
it's
like
not
after. It's like
that's like the really famous
Yeah.
song,
yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
like the Beautiful Ghost. Like
I know what
thought
you're
that was
talking
really
about.
good. Yeah.
I think I know the scene, but yeah.
Yeah. And then apparently that was like all the other songs were based on the musical, but that was like one song that was written by Taylor Swift herself and co-written by Andrew Lloyd Webber, who was the
Yeah,
writer of the
original.
musical. Yeah, original
Yeah.
composer. And so she like that was like the one unique song to the movie, and I thought it was really good too. I was like, no, this seems a little different than the rest, and found out afterwards. But I don't think people. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people, like I said, just like they can't get past like the furry part of cats, so they miss out on the actual good music.
Yeah. Oh shit. Damn, there's a lot of thunder.
The storm is hitting you harder than us.
Yeah, I didn't hear that one at all.
Oh, I heard the rumble. Like, I heard the
I just turned it on.
distance.
Underrated character next. So I guess mine's not really underrated because we've like talked about him, but mine was McCavity. I said like for the reason that he's the only normal looking cat when he's wearing clothes. Like if they
that's what I was saying. Like he looked cool when he was with clothes.
Yeah. Like he would have looked cool, and like he's like all smooth and stuff. So I was like,
and Rum Tum Tugger, like those two, like they were like okay, they were okay, like in terms of appearance wise.
Also, I liked how his character just had the ability to like teleport, and they just didn't even like consider that like a.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought was part of like the musical part. And then I looked it up. It's like, yeah, McCavity has the ability to apparate. It's like, what? That was a part of the movie.
It's like, yeah, this must be like theatrical.
No, because like in the musical, like he's going place to place, and I thought that was just like like scene change. Or, like that's just signifying like
yeah, like they do that in the
But
tap
that's the
dancing
ability.
scene when they like tap dance on a railroad. So like, oh, okay, they must be doing that too.
It's like scene change. Or, like his character's out somewhere or something. But it's like he just straight up has the ability to teleport. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, but yeah, that's mine.
For me, I'd say underrated character is probably I'm gonna pronounce it the magnificent Mr. How do you say his name?
Oh, dude, magical Mr. Mistopheles.
Mistopheles, yeah,
Dude, that was my guy, dude. That's who I was.
Yeah, I
gonna
love
say.
him,
dude.
He's
Magical
a ball.
Mr. Mistopheles. If there's
feel like-
anything that I won't like, if I forget everything about this movie, that's the one thing I will remember.
I feel like it's biased because the only reason I like him is because his introduction is the best one. His song,
Yeah, exactly.
but he's also just like a baller in general.
I'm pretty
But
sure
yeah.
he's the one who ends up scoring with Victoria too, or like I don't know if I was like reading that wrong.
I
but,
don't know.
like,
They do like a necking thing. Like I don't know if
Yeah.
that was kissing or what, but I guess
don't
in
know.
cat terms he scored.
Yeah, but
No, but
I liked him too. I thought he was. Yeah, he was the coolest one. He was like, I'm not an actual magician. You guys know that. It's like, but you can try, right? And he's like,
yeah, that's also. But yeah, he technically saves the whole thing.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. Like without him, like I'm not gonna kidding you. I thought he was the one who was gonna win the contest because he brought her back. I was
I
like,
thought he won.
So,
yeah, like,
I think it's so funny how like McCavity, first off, you find out like he can teleport people and take them away. It's like, oh no, how will we get over this? Like, by the way, I could just like teleport him back here. Like that's my power.
Yeah. All right. Last for underrated, we have underrated aspect. So one of the things that I thought was cool in this movie is that like the scenery and like all the sets were like really nice. Like I like how like they made everything from like the viewpoint of the cat, so everything is like big. So like whenever they go
I
into
did
like
like
rooms
that.
and
I
stuff,
thought that was really cool. Yeah.
yeah, there is like the bed was big and stuff, and then like when they do like shots of London, like it's a lot larger than you'd expect it to be. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, so for me, I said I'd talk about this, but the music in this movie is just like actually amazing, which I guess makes sense because it's a musical. But it's like surprising how catchy every single song is. Like I said, there's one redeeming aspect in this movie, and I think like everyone's kind of gone over it a little. But like the part that they took straight from the musical that works, like the actual music and dancing and songs, like those are really good. they're catchy, they're like well done.
And they have like
And, like,
good singers
again-
on the cast too. So
Yeah, and they're good singers too. So it's like I know it's like again like from a musical, but like that's generally like all the songs are like actually bangers, you know? Like I didn't skip any of the songs. Like they were all good to listen to. Some of them were like honestly like very emotional and stuff, but yeah, I thought the music and the whole like musical part of it was just so good.
Yeah. I was gonna say the same thing as you. I thought the set design was something that people don't give enough credit for. Like as like part of like halfway through the movie when I was like either getting bored with the dancing music or something, I would like pay attention to the details. Like I wonder, look at like just pay attention to
Yeah.
the size of things and stuff.
when I didn't want to look at the cats anymore, I just look in the back and be like, oh, it's nice.
Because I mean, yeah, it was interesting to see. Just like I don't know, but like at the same time, there was also the disturbing when you talked about like the human cockroach and human mice that were like much
Yeah.
smaller too, and then they would like just eat them.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, set design is nice.
But yeah, the set design, like even the background with like the streets or whatever, and then the shops and stuff, I thought that was like it was a really cool tone. It was like very colorful and stuff.
All right. We'll move then to our last category, most overrated. All right, lads, my overrated scene. I feel like I do this every podcast. Someone says this is underrated. I said this is my overrated. But my overrated scene was Mr. Mistopheles' magic show.
No,
Yeah.
Dude, oh
Fuck
dude, he was
you.
such a baller.
All right, but like, all right. So my problem with it is that like they need him to do magic to get Mr. like the old Deuteronomy back, and so like
Yeah.
they make him do a magic show and like a dance number, and there's this really one like funny part where he's like, I don't want to, and they're like, no, you have to, and yeah, I was like, all right, fine.
Please
But, like,
do.
dude, I was just so confused. Like, is this magic based on like how much people believe in him, or does he have to like believe in himself? Like, I didn't even think he was a real magician this whole movie, and
I didn't. I thought, well, like, I didn't think it was like, I don't know. It was a weird thing where it was like, obviously magic exists because McCavity can just fucking teleport everywhere. But at the same time, I was like, he's just like, he's like a magician, you know? He's like, magic
yeah, like
isn't
I thought he was like
real,
pulling stuff out
like,
of hats, and I was like,
yeah.
all right, do some card tricks.
yeah.
He's like,
And then they hit him with the teleporter back, and I'm like, what?
Oh, he's like, guys, you guys know I'm not a real magician, right? Like,
I
I,
think-
just
But
like
that's
do
why
card
he's
tricks.
so
the plot.
baller. I was like, what if he wasn't actually a real magician and pulled that off?
And how'd he
Like,
get her back? Like, that's
No,
not.
that's
like,
what
it's just
know,
I
but,
straight
think it's
magic.
so funny. It's because when you read the plot summary, it's like exactly what Sujay said. It's like all the cats ask Mr. Mistopheles if he can use his magic to conjure her back, and he's like, but he says he can't, and he can't try.
He's like,
But
guys,
then
I have to
eventually
tell
he
you, it's
does.
not
Like that
real
straight up
magic.
his plot summary.
Also, like right after he does it, he basically becomes like God. Like he's literally just like producing flowers, like flying around. Like I guess he got
Yeah,
over
that's
his
why
like
he's
issues
like
quick.
the best
I mean,
character ever.
uh, yeah, so for overrated scene, I already said this a lot earlier today, like during this podcast, but I did not like Rebel Wilson's song or James Corden's song. Like I think CJ kind of said it, and I like as a memeable moment, and I just think I'm saying I just genuinely don't like it. Like the whole spiel or like punchline is that they're fat, and like it doesn't even like work most of the time, and like it just gets old, and yeah, I just didn't like that.
Yeah, it's hard for me to think of an overrated thing because there's wasn't much to be like. This was not a movie that people thought highly of to begin with. I think the one thing that like the cat that disturbed me the most was I think her name was Grisabella. It was like the one who ended up winning. Yeah, the one who won. Like I thought they butchered her CGI the worst out of everybody else. Like okay, like even honestly, like Taylor Swift as a cat, like
Taylor Swift
it wasn't
bad.
it wasn't as bad. Yeah, but like for some reason her face was just not meant to be on a cat body or something like that.
As most humans are.
Yeah, like most of the cats for sure. But like a few exceptions, like I feel like Idris Elba, like okay, with clothes on and stuff like that. It was,
He's
like,
in his Elba. He's sexiest
Yeah.
man alive.
But, I don't know, her face just, and I think that was like the first picture I saw in the trailer, which I think got everyone's initial reaction, so that's why people hated it a lot. But yeah, I think I don't know what they did with her face. Maybe that's like at the peak of the 90, like this was like the 89th hour of the week or something, and the CGI artists were like, all right,
just throw it on
it's
there.
like I'm sorry that it was you who like it was your scene that we had to work on at this moment, but it's time to really, pull some strings.
All right.
But yeah, I really didn't like her CGI.
All right. Overrated character then. So I chose Victoria, which is the main cat. My problem with her is that she really doesn't play a part in this movie at all. Like, she doesn't save Old Deuteronomy. She doesn't stop McCavity. She doesn't even win the Jellicle Ball, which is what I thought they were building up to.
I thought it was like, oh, nice and predictable. Like, she comes out as a stray cat. There's all these like top tier talents, been training, and then she just like underdog stories. Like, okay, I can go get behind it.
She doesn't even win.
Yeah, basically her whole role was hyping up like Grisabella to perform, and like that was it. I was like, okay. But she was the main cat for some reason. I don't know.
I took it as to be like we were supposed to follow, like, because she didn't know what was going on, and that's why
Victoria's the audience member.
Yeah, like we were supposed to like experience it through her point of view. So that's why everybody, because like I'm imagining, if this was actually a thing on the streets, James Corden has probably done his number like 50,000 times to all the neighboring cats, like just practicing and stuff. So like it should not be a surprise to anybody else. But like it's fresh because this is the first time Victoria saw it or whatever.
Possibly.
Can you imagine how fuming you would be if you were in this sky for an entire year and then the day of like selection, this random ass cat gets dropped off, immediately wins? I'd be fuming. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
So I was practicing my craft for an entire year. I just hope tonight is the night.
Yeah, because like they obviously have been practicing for a long time. Like they have all these like numbers and routines been planned up and stuff. I was like, damn.
Yeah, but yeah,
that's what I took her role as. Like just like
I still said Victoria though, piggybacking off Sujay. Like she was over it, like the same reason that Sujay said. I know she's supposed to be the audience and stuff, but like when I think of a rated character, like I think her, she was like the least memorable in the entire movie, in my opinion.
She had a song, right? She had to have had a song.
She had a song, yeah.
She was
I just don't remember.
She was the beautiful ghost. It was the beautiful ghost.
Oh, yeah,
she didn't perform though. She didn't
Oh
perform.
no, that was after the no,
Yeah, it was the beautiful.
She sang in other people's songs, but I think that was the only song that she.
But like her one song was the one to get the cat who ended up winning it all like back to like perform.
Yeah, it was after the film. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, same reason as Sujay. She was just so unimportant in the movie, which again might be because, like Brand said, she's the audience's point of view. But
yeah, if I had to choose overrated or underrated, honestly I could have done without James Corden's entire character because like I just felt like that was like one song too many that didn't really add to anything, and it was just like
they could have chosen either Rebel Wilson or James Corden. I don't know why they had
it was just like a song for song's sake, which is like fine because it was a good song. Yeah, but like I don't know, it didn't contribute to the plot, which was like the already very thin plot that it had. It was more for the song, and I just like I don't know, I didn't really care too much for the song and his eating, so it was like whatever.
All right, move to the last part then, overrated aspect. So I said that like I didn't really like how this kind of flowed as the movie, because to me it was basically like they were just introducing characters for like half the movie and then we're already at the ball. Like there was not a lot of middle part in this movie because it was basically just we like get a song for each character to introduce them, and then like we're dropping into the Jellicle Ball, which is like the climax of the movie, and which is basically why I started paying attention. It's like a lot of useless thing.
It's not made for a movie, and they tried to force it into something that it wasn't meant for.
That's kind of what I was gonna say. That I said it earlier, but this is just like if you look at the just bare plot of this movie, it's actually like a 10-minute movie with like
not like a 5-minute movie. Like what are you talking about? Like we could have made
it's like so short without the musical. Which again, it's a musical, but the plot is not meant for a movie.
It just like I guess the one reason I was okay with this before, like it wasn't too bad for me, was because I've had to sit through my sister's ballet recitals. And the way that they work there is like it's a huge ballet school with over 200 students in like 20 classes or whatever. And at the end of the year, they have a giant recital where they take like a very popular story like The Little Mermaid or Cinderella or something. But then every class needs to have their final performance. So they make up like the most random excuses to like have a character. Like, so one class, like if this was The Little Mermaid, one class would be like the sea stars. Another class would be the shell. and then they get to like sand, water, air. Like there'd be 30 seconds of plot, and then be like Ariel will be like, oh, the wind is blowing, and then they'd queue up another like 5-minute dance of like an entire class.
The air particles start dancing in.
So I got used to that, where it was like it could have been a lot worse. For like I was used to like very little plot and just like a whole bunch of dancing and whatnot and sitting through.
This is again kind of like
I like built the stamina, I guess, for like I was like, oh, it's only an hour and 40 minutes long. Like I had to sit through 3 hours of this before. So it's like
yeah, like bouncing off of that, it's kind of like Indian movies, because almost 99% of Indian movies are musicals, and all of their plots are the same. It's like this hero, he like falls in love with the girl, and then like at the end, this is when they get married, and it's like mostly musicals with like some action in the middle. But this is like basically that on steroids, in that it's just complete musical stuff instead of like any plot whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I have a theory though. Like I think the reason that this did so poorly, because I thought at least like to the normal person, is not a movie, and I'm not big on musicals or Broadway, so I didn't enjoy it, because when I watch a movie, I want to be like told a story, right? That's generally what happens when you watch a movie, but there was no story. So I thought at least like the Broadway people, like people who are into musicals, would enjoy it, right? Because like it's their thing. But apparently this movie pissed them off too, because like
they didn't do it justice.
Yeah.
They didn't do it. Like not only that, like the CGI was bad, but I thought like the Broadway people could look past that and like, oh, at least the song and music is damn. But apparently like a lot of the songs and musics, like they were supposed to be duets or something, and they just like cut it out, or they like dropped a whole bunch of characters or something like that. So not only did they play people, because like they just like didn't. It like it's like, I don't know, if you're not expecting a musical and you don't like furry CGI, then you're not gonna like it. But they also pissed off their like niche like audience.
People they were going for.
Yeah.
It's because Cats the musical is actually like critically acclaimed.
It's like, a really good
it's apparently like one of the best. Yeah. So you have to do it right, or else the stands will come out.
Yeah. So they missed on both marks, which is like, ouch.
Is that your overrated aspect, or?
Yeah, that's
okay.
I didn't have much to say. Like,
there's the honorable mention I had was like the CGI, which just hit on most. I think I realized like what the most unnerving part about it is that they made the hands and feet human, but the rest of it cat.
That's probably it. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you like watched it, it was really
if you watch a cat with opposable thumbs, it's just like uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It'd still be pretty weird though if I saw like a human face, but then they held it up in his paws. I don't know. I don't know if that would fully do it for me.
I like watched clips from like the actual musical just to see if it was like, and it was just like them with like paint on, which I think was like better.
It was like bodysuits, and like wigs.
I think the reason this is disturbing is because they tried to make it look more like a cat.
It's like the uncanny valley. It's like the musical was fine because it was so not like a cat that we could just accept it. But there's like a point where you meet, like you either have to be
gone too far.
Yeah, you either have to be like really realistic and like a cat, or you have to be like really not like a cat and like human. But if you like get to like this point where they meet, then it just like your whole body and brain is just confused and just like doesn't know. And then it just not good, pleasant things.
All right, cool. Well, that's all our categories. Any final thoughts on the movie you want to share?
No.
Music was good. I mean, I'm glad I checked it off my bucket list to watch. So
watch Cats. Before I die, I want to watch Cats.
I don't think I would have watched it if it wasn't for this podcast. I'm not gonna lie. Like, if I didn't have like an external motivation to watch it, my curiosity, wouldn't have been enough.
Yeah, for sure. Otherwise, yeah. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening to our episode on Cats. If you haven't already, please give us a follow on whatever platform you're listening to this on, and also follow our Instagram at Overrated Podcast. If you're listening on YouTube, please hit us up with a like and subscribe. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week. This has been Overrated.